Welcome to Coach's Corner. Kevin Turner along with legendary head football coach at Mater Dei High School, Bruce Rollinson. And Coach, welcome back to Coach's Corner. We're 5 weeks into the season. You guys are 2-0, have traveled 3,500 miles. You still hold that number one consensus ranking in the nation, 2-0. You got La Mirada coming up, then you got the big boys. Let's talk for a minute about the season, the 2021 fall season. You guys have traveled 3,500 miles, played 2 games, you've had 3 weeks off. We're still not in that new normal.
Well, the first thing is it feels like, it just yesterday we were doing the spring season. Now we're back here and we've already got, like you say, 2 games under our belt. I can tell you, Kevin, as the head football coach who I feel like, I've got a lot of experience, I have not had this experience. First of all, to get a phone call from my good friend Matt Logan saying we can't play the first game. My heart sank. I go, what do you mean you can't? They got hit with a COVID quarantine. God bless Matt. I'm going to say this every time, but he was generous enough. His boys actually came back. It was all of his linemen. They came back on Saturday morning, and we went out and scrimmaged. Had I not had that scrimmage, I don't even know what it would have been like to go straight to Texas and play Duncanville. But now, as you know, after Duncanville, no game, and this is a whole set of new motivations because you're trying to tell a kid, we've got to get better as a team. We've got to continue to improve, what you want to do on a weekly basis, but there's no carrot on Friday night. There's nothing to look forward to, and we had some good practices and we had some not so good practices. And I knew where it was coming from. It had nothing to do with the heat like we have today. It had to do with the simple fact we were out of a routine.
Right.
You and I, from playing ball and even business and my job, routine is the key. Monday is offense, game plan. Defense is Tuesday, scouting report, defensive game plan on the field. Wednesday, split it, even reps, put the polish on it, throw out what you don't like. Thursday, just tune it up, clean it up, and go Friday night. We're in that routine now. But it was a challenge with these off weeks. Last week was a challenge.
Finally, week 5, you're going to step into the bowl for the first time in the fall of 2021. How special is that going to be for your seniors?
I go back to last year's seniors, and they're down the road here in a couple of weeks. But the Bosco game, April 17th, which still fascinates me, and nobody's there, and you've got 2 of the greatest teams in the nation going against each other. And the parents were about it. Right. I think when they let 1,500 on each side or something. I've been saying this all along. How much have you enjoyed Saturdays with college football back on? Watching the Alabama Gator game. What a great. I am so excited about the fact that they're going to come up out of the locker room to do the Monarch March. And there's going to be the student body to our left, then the season ticket holders, and everybody will be in red, and you'll see that sea of red. It's going to be a good feeling. It's going to be a great feeling.
Be awesome.
Yeah.
What I thought was amazing is all the logistics that have gone on behind the scenes, and there's so many game balls that you could give out, and what's going on with your social media outreach, and your daughter, Kat Peterson, is just doing an unbelievable job.
Thank you.
25,000 followers on social media, and then the Mater Dei production staff and what they're doing. I mean, this is top shelf. The quality and the brand that you're presenting and the opportunity to promote your kids is NFL and Division I college football. It rivals, in my opinion, what USC is doing with their Boulevard of Dreams or whatever that theme is, and what the other Pac-12 teams are doing. It is literally top shelf Emmy award-winning content that you guys are producing, and kids have got to love that stuff because that's the new age. They want to see themselves.
Exactly.
They want to know that you're promoting it. And I can't believe how well you guys are executing that plan.
Well, thank you for, and I give all the credit to Catherine, my daughter, who's my director of football ops. And she has that eye. She has the background in marketing. When she graduated from SC, she spent a lot of years, doing this for a smaller company who wanted to remain small but had a wide reach. The other thing I'm going to say right now is we had Kevin Roode. Okay, we paid homage to him. He's already worked his way up the ladder. He was on the field for the first home game filming. Now we have Justin Cuevas, and he's a 10th grader, so we're going to get better.
He's fired up, man. He's been on me like white on rice the last 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Like, when are we going to get this thing started?
and it's their talent. He's producing today's show, and he's wheeling, dealing cameras, and I kind of got goosebumps. I go, yeah, there's my guy at work. But again, circling back to the thing, yes, I mean, and now it's I finally figured out where to figure out how many followers you got. We hit 27.
Yeah.
And the content is good. It's good video, but it's a variety of things that I'm a kid in the 8th grade, 7th grade, and I'm scouring, and I go, hey, look at this. Look at what they do. Hopefully that branding, not hopefully, because I know kids are going to come.
Yeah.
All you got to do is look at the talent we have on the field.
Well, it builds up so much excitement, and then you see that when Mater Dei travels to Texas. I traveled with the team to Las Vegas to Bishop Gorman High School, and the Mater Dei sideline was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't find a vacant seat. I mean, you guys traveled so well to Vegas. I mean, that could be your home away from home. I'd like to see you guys do that again. I mean, and paying homage to the Polynesian Hall of Famers, and you've got a number of kids on your team that have Polynesian lineage, and what a great way to celebrate their lineage and the greatness that came before them. It was just a really cool environment.
No, it was, and I know I'm going to just back up for 1 second. I'll tell you, because I like to share my personal experiences. But when I brought them around the corner in Texas at Duncanville, we were in some hot garage or something, a storage shed for a locker room. It was about 600 degrees in there, and I'm going, I got to get them out of here because they're just blowing adrenaline sweat. Anyway, we came around the corner, and I was shocked at how many people were there. And I'm telling you, most of them were wearing red. Fast forward, we had the delay before the game, and me, that was rocking me good.
Well, you were trying to redo the math, and you're going, well, wait a minute, you had all
my itineraries down to the minute, and they screwed my minutes up.
Best laid plans, right?
Well, at one point I got so mad I just took them out to the auxiliary field and just started running them.
Right.
But when we came through that gate, I looked and I go, whoa. Look at all these people. Yeah. And again, they all bought tickets that help support the cause, the Polynesian Classic. And we do travel well. And not just our fans traveling with us. We try to make it a great experience for the kids. I'll share one story. Our dinner on Friday night, we pulled in at whatever time it was, 4 o'clock, 4:30, got them all their rooms, spun them around at 6 o'clock, reloaded the buses, and the restaurant was very close. The whole thing was set up by John Flynn, my first national championship quarterback, and John was gracious enough to come down. I caught him off guard, but since he worked with President Biden, he well prepared. I said, John, I'd like you to say a few words to the team. I don't think, he thought he was going to just shake hands. He knocked it out of the park. And what I liked about it, Kevin, is I didn't prep him. I just literally said, speak. And the same thing from a 1994 quarterback grad, he preached, he drank the Kool-Aid and retold it to our kids. But that's the kind of thing, we're going to travel well. We're going to always try to tie. Texas, we went to Jury's World. Unfortunately, we were going to tour Alliance in the morning, but it fell through. We had too many people, and they were getting ready for a Monday night game. But anyway, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Too much fun.
But I think you said the key thing. I mean, it's 5 weeks, and I got 2 games. Yeah. Thank God we're going into the stadium
you mentioned,
Friday night.
The behind the scenes and the support, and we want to thank Hook or Crook Sellers again. They're back, and let me just over my right hand shoulder here. This is their new Field Blend Lodi Reserved. We dusted off a bottle of this the other night. This is great stuff. It's available on sale right now at Costco, so check it out. This is awesome product here if you like a Field Blend Red. And our new sponsor, who's also sponsoring college football game day, and this pairs
Dynasty.
Very well. Bear Dynasty. This is their new premium product. It is the stain and one coat process. This is the top of the line, the #1 rated paint according to Consumer Reports, just like Modern Day, sustained excellence, like 13 years in a row, and you can buy Bear product at your nearby Home Depot store. So we want to thank Bear Paint. They're also headquartered right here in Santa Ana. So they've been here since 1950, just like Modern Day. So
there you go.
The Dynasty, pairs very well with Modern Day.
We got a Dynasty on one side,
one corner,
and the Monarchs on the other.
And they're right here. They're right down here on Edinger at the 55 freeway, their new corporate headquarters. So you got it bookended here in Santa Ana.
A lot of our viewers probably got nervous when they saw a can of paint. I got a lot of bad stories with paintbrushes and paint trays.
Well, if you need to paint, right here, baby, Bear Paint. All right, so let's talk about personnel. Obviously, unfortunate news, the All-American, 5-star, #1 defensive recruited player in the nation on his way to USC, Damani Jackson, on the shelf for the balance of the season. But we understand it's not as bad as what everybody thought. He's going to have a procedure, but he'll be ready to enroll at SC at the break, and the future looks bright for Damani Jackson. And by the way, since our last podcast, set a state 100-meter record, broke Curtis Gooden's record here at Modern Day, went 10:25 in the state 100-meter championship. And I know you're a track guy, you love speed. I mean, how cool was that to see Damani cross the tape and bust and tie the state record as well at 10:25.
Yeah, and they just announced that he was the state athlete of the year for the state of California a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Kevin, that rocks me when the kids get hurt. I can deal with parents. I can deal with the financial issues that are always constantly coming at me, but when the boys get hurt, especially those seniors, it's done.
Yeah.
And trying to tell a young man that's 17 years old, going on 18, this isn't the worst thing that's going to happen in your life, and you don't have a disease that's going to kill you. That's not washing. That's not washing. All you can do is be by his side, have him know that you've got his back, and try to walk him through it with constant reinforcement and attention.
Right.
Because you remember when you were hurt, whether it was high school, you felt like you weren't on the team anymore. Even though you were, and you came to the games, but you're in your jersey.
Yeah.
And you just wanted to just run through a wall. You were so frustrated. But like you said, the surgeons, he actually had the surgery Monday, and the surgeons were extremely pleased with the outcome. Student confidentiality doesn't allow us to identify the injury, but I can tell the Monarch fans here, he's going to be good to go. They went to the USC surgeons with our team doctor, Dr. Gourmet, blessing, and we'll start his rehab, and then he'll transfer his rehab up to the Trojans. And all things indicate he'll be ready to rock for the 22 season for USC.
And I did see his Instagram or something on social media where his commitment is steadfast to SC after the Clay Helton firing, which was, another thing that's topical because all the college shows, the Saturday morning shows, were talking about, well, isn't it about time? And that was kind of this rhetorical question. And one of the analysts said, well, what do you mean it's about time? He said, well, look at, you got Bryce Young and JT Daniels that were, one was committed and one was at SC, and they're both starting in the SEC. And then you've got DJ Uiagalelei, who's the starting quarterback at Clemson. And those, 10 years ago should have been Southern California, maybe at SC, UCLA, or Stanford, or somewhere in the Pac-12. But, we're losing a lot of players, and they specifically brought up Mater Dei being this pipeline to the Pac-12 and how that, there's a new normal now that these kids aren't so married to the Pac-12. But I think SC has got to be top 10, top 5, and I think it's good for business. Pac-12, it elevates the entire league, just like you guys do, and just like Bosca. You guys are good for the Trinity League. And I think ultimately USC's got to set their sights at a very, very high level and can't compromise if they want to get back to that national championship promised land.
No, there's a lot of talent in Southern California, and you see that talent at various universities, and there's a little pipeline running up to Oregon. I'm part of the pipeline. I think I've got 8 of them up there now, or 7. Circling back, it was brought to my attention Sunday morning by a reporter who's going to do a story. The number 1 team in the nation is Alabama. The number 2 team in the nation is Georgia. And they're both triggered by Mater Dei quarterbacks.
Of course.
That's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Pretty cool. And, I'm a Clay Helton fan. I've said that numerous times on our podcast. I texted Clay, and he texted me back. He's a first-class individual. And I think what he said in the end of his text is just what Clay Helton's all about. He goes, I'm excited for the next journey, and good outlook. I can't tell what the Trojans should do. I know when Pete Carroll took over, he had a meeting individually. I ended up, the time I could go, I remember Jerry Jaso from Long Beach Poly. We were doing battle, and we met with Pete, and that was his primary concern. I need the players out of Long Beach Poly. I need the players out of Mater Dei, and what do I need to do? I think we have good relationships, and I have a great relationship with Chip Kelly. The thing is, now Dante's, he's got the reputation for recruiting. I know the younger assistant coaches have energy. I don't know about strength, okay? That's the guy, okay? That's the guy, and the next guy is the head coach and the coordinators. And so I think there's going to be a shuffle. I mean, and I'm not an expert, I don't know. I will wholeheartedly agree with you, and every name is going to be thrown out there. We know that money's probably not an object, okay? It was probably money that might have cost Clay. Game 2, I'm not, I'm a Trojan alum. I question that. I didn't think he'd last at the end of the season after getting beat, but I never thought they'd do it in Game 2. I know that they do a great job with our younger players. They're above board, they're legal, and you get a couple kids in there, next thing you know, they have influence on other kids. Build those programs. Okay, I think Chip's on the verge. Okay, he's really turned it around at UCLA. Talked to Mike Martinez. He loves the culture that Coach Kelly's developed. Now the Trojans have got to get back. You and I know Herm's doing a great job out there.
And what I'm seeing, at least the progress being made, is up front, the development of the offensive line, and not being so pass heavy. The successful teams now are really able to run the ball downhill with, a diversified skill set, with a running back that can get out of the backfield and make that one-on-one move and make those and then also get the tough yards in between the tackles. I think you saw that with SC this last week. You saw it with UCLA against LSU. You're seeing it at Arizona State. If we don't make 16 penalties and 4 turnovers, we walk away with a W at BYU. But talk about pulling your. I have no hair left, but what was there was I'm pulling my eyebrows out. In any event, so that's the college football landscape. I think USC is going to be fine. I think the Pac-12, with the new commissioner, new TV contract, I think the dust is going to settle, and I think you're going to see some great things coming out of Los Angeles, and I think that's good. As you and I talked about, I think that's good for business. Let's talk about the Trinity League, because the last 3 or 4 years it's been a 2-horse race. Yeah. Santa Margarita has really elevated. I love what they're doing down there. They're running the football. They've got a dynamic quarterback. They beat you guys. They walked away with the Battle of the Beach passing league tournament, the pillow fight over there at Edison High School.
There you go.
Shorts and T-shirts. Never won a football game, but they're making progress. Orange Lutheran's making progress, and then Servite is back. That's going to be another barn burner. So there's no weeks off coming up for you guys after you get past La Mirada.
No, and that's, again, we were talking about the brand of modern day football, and that's, we advertise it's the toughest league in the nation. Now it's proof's in the pudding. All you have to do is look at the rankings, because they know who all of us are playing. They know the talent level. A lot of it has to do with head coaches, and that they've settled in at Orange Lutheran. They've settled in at Santa Margarita. They're giving these guys what they need to run nationally ranked programs. That's the key. My administration supports the mission of modern day football to be nationally recognized, and it's hard. It's hard to do, and we can talk about schedule in a second, but it's am I laying awake at night going, oh boy, here we go. But yet I'm excited, because good coaches, that's when the fun is. Okay, the chess game of Saturday morning after the victory, and then up to Friday night at 7:30 or 7 o'clock, and then turn it over to the kids. I like chess games with good coaches, because I've got 2 of the best.
A lot of fun. Well, it's all about sustained excellence. But I like you've got your Mount Rushmore obviously with Dave Money and Coach Johnson running the defense. But I love what your young defensive coaches are doing. I like what how he's managing the quarterback situation. Your receiver coaches. I mean, there's a lot of young energy out there, and you got to feel blessed to have that kind of new regentrification going on here at Mater Dei High School.
Yeah, I mean, at my age, Kevin, I'm slowly training to a CEO model. Okay, and the more younger guys that I can get involved, lieutenants though that I can trust, that I can teach, that understand the modern day first of all understand the school philosophy and understand my philosophy. I do it my way, and there's a lot of guys that wouldn't fit, but there's a lot of guys that would, and I'm going to be looking for 2 or 3 more guys, and but it's you look at our practice, okay? You've watched God knows how many, we pride ourselves on running a college formatted practice. But you have to have the right guys to do that. They have to know, boom, it's a 5-minute period of catch drills. It's a 5-minute period of top of route adjustments, things like that. And all that has to fit into your 30-minute individual period, and we're moving. And in the middle of that, you got to deal with the personalities of your kids. And I liked what you said, okay? There's respect for the head coach. I still think I relate to him, but I'm not naive enough to think that the younger coaches relate better. I don't care who they choose as their mentor, okay, just so long as they're buying in and working hard.
Well, it's about, we talked about it with SC, it's about accountability, it's about respecting the brand. It's not having a bifurcated set of rules. I've seen you out there with 5-star guys going, get off of my field. If you're not going to participate at a high level and pay attention and do what we tell you to do, you got to hit the highway.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's what you need, whether you're running a Fortune 500 company, or you're starting a lawnmower business, or you're running a top shelf high school football program. There's got to be accountability at the top. There's got to be consistent messaging and leadership. And you have done, that's been the common, people ask me, well, how come they're so successful? I said, they have very strong, they're very principled, they're very strong in terms of leadership. And Bruce is really good at delegating responsibility. He's not the expert fundraiser. He's not the expert X's and O's guy. He's not the expert weightlifting guy. He's not the expert. He builds a staff. He doesn't hire coaches. And you talked about that last week when we were talking about the USC situation, and you said the key to the success for this interim coach is all those assistants have got to buy in.
Yeah, pull the rope in the same direction.
And I like what Dante did. I mean, there was 3 kids late the second day, and he goes, okay, stand up. He grilled them, and then he told their roommates to stand up and said, you're just as culpable and responsible. You see your guy sleeping in, get his ass out of bed and make sure that he's there, because it's your fault that he was late. And I think there's substance to that messaging.
I believe that all of us want structure, identification of responsibility. Even at my age, I said it earlier, I need my routine. I know exactly what to do when it's a Friday night game. And I truly believe that whatever age, college, on down, they look for our leadership and our direction, and you corral their energy and you get it going in the right direction. Does that mean you're not going to have problems? No, you're going to have problems, but there's a certain mentality, and the kids have to buy into that mentality. And I've got an unbelievable freshman group right now, and there's probably a group of 11, 12 kids who we're going to be talking about by the end of the season. The Jordan Davison kid,
your running back, number 21,
the running back, and then you've got Semi, the nose tackle that's in the rotation, and there's 4 or 5 more that you'll see on special teams. I don't care if freshmen play, it doesn't matter to me. Best players play, best fit. But the process had begun. They have bought into what I believe and what modern day football is all about. But it's the seniors. Yeah. I got the C.J. Williams, who's the ultimate leader. Sione Moa is a phenomenal leader. You just go right down the line. Josh Hunter, what an example. What an incredible leader he is. And they have to corral it, and they also have to get the younger players to understand. They're the examples. As much as I tell them, those kids look up to seniors. If the senior's not dressed properly for the game, why do I have to dress properly? And but you still fight the small battles.
Right. Obviously, Heisman Lane, modern day's got quarterbacks all over the college football landscape. Heisman trophies, they're on TV. Matt Leinart, Barkley, the list goes on and on and on. Obviously, you've got one starting at Georgia, one starting at Alabama. But this youngster you have this year, number 12, Elijah Brown, what makes him so special on Friday night? Because I've been out to practice, and it looks, maybe that's why they call it practice. But this young man, when those lights go on Friday night, it's like this guy has that thoroughbred mentality where he may not train well during the intervals during the week, but when he comes out of the gate, I mean, it's Katie bar the door. This guy is special.
Well, I knew you were going to bring up that practice stuff, because even I in practice sometimes go, whoa, where was that ball going? But he's also, he's played 7 football games. And we forget that. And he's a 10th grader. But there is 10 years ago or whatever number, 12 years ago, I used to never believe in that. There's certain kids that when you turn on the lights, and I just said, now you got to work your butt off all week. You got to show it in practice, and then the fun is the game.
Right.
About 10 years ago, I started saying, you know what? There are guys that you put the stadium lights on, and they're different.
Yeah, and there are other guys that look great on Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday night, and they lay an egg.
Or they look the same as they did.
I went to a coach's clinic, this was probably 15 years ago, and Tom Hoke, who was a coach at Eisenhower, got up and spoke, and he went through his whole practice routine, and he goes, but the best day of practice better be on Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. No, it takes.
And I always remember that. It's like, your best practice got to be Friday night.
Regardless. It takes beating on my head, but I've come to accept. And then the rest of them, all my ex-players have heard me say this, okay? On Friday night, okay, average players ain't going to cut it in the Trinity League. They've got to go to good. Good players have got to be good the whole time, and once in a while do something great. And the great players, they got to carry you. We're pleased with where Elijah is at. Okay, we're not a statistic-driven program at all. We are a development and see how much you're improving. I thought from week 1 to week 2, he took off where he left off, and he made some better, harder throws, longer reads. He let plays develop. And that's a credit to the offensive line for giving him time. Liberty threw a lot of junk at us. Obviously, Dave Money had them prepared, and Elijah had the time. And let's cut through the chase. We're a running threat now.
I mean, you texted me after the Vegas game, and you said, how do you coach that? And we're talking about Ray Leak Brown, number 4, who's committed to the University of Oklahoma. He reminds me of the way that Walter Payton ran when he first came into the league. He gives you that little stutter step move and kind of lulls you to sleep, and then he puts his foot in the ground, and then he gets vertical, and it's goodbye.
You saw the acceleration on the first touchdown. The safety had the angle. He just shoulder dipped him, kind of froze him a second, and then just bursted up that right sidelines. I said, God, I'm a good coach. No, he does things that, and I was talking with the coaches on the offense, and I said, sometimes you guys go, whoa, it was out the back door, or he should have. I go, guys, he's going to trust what his eyes see, okay? And you don't overcoach a kid like that. You now, don't get me wrong. You coach effort and finish.
Sure.
And, we're taking Raleek and trying to get him to understand the entire picture of the defense, and he's starting to learn that, okay? Because if you look at defensive fronts and safeties, it's going to tell you where the possible breakaway. But I guarantee he didn't look at anything that Duncanville. He just sensed that it was going to go out the back door, and 78 yards later, as he was pulling away from everybody.
I like the great quote from, Arnold Palmer had this one of the greatest athletes, golfers of all time, and he had this unorthodox swing, and Jack Nicklaus is this hunched over. He said, remember, there are fundamentals as it relates to physics, but it's just, golf is a game of feel. And to me, Ray Leak is a game of feel running back and athlete. He feels something, he senses something, and to your point, he sees things, and then he has to trust that feel.
Exactly.
And I don't think you want to
you don't mess with that. Yeah. And add to that, I think his peripheral vision goes back to about here, and I swear sometimes he smells it coming. It's just it's a God-given talent, but now we've got we got a big time threat. We can bring Ajon in if we have to.
Ajon Bryant.
And obviously, you know, we have total trust in the freshmen.
Yeah.
Jordan Davidson, you know, so, you know, have we had that before? Of course. Jacoby Harper in 17 and the great seasons he had. But this is a little different. You know, it's just a little different. And I know Elijah knows that. But I'm proud of what Elijah's done, but I'm excited for where he's going to take it. Okay, we're building a race car. We race, but we're still down in the junior circuit with where we want this offense to go. You know, we're winning the
Xfinity Series.
Yeah, the IndyCar lights. But I want to get to the 500.
There you go. Let's flip it over to the other side real quick. Do so. Let's just remind our audience and our loyal Mater Dei followers, Coach's Corner brought to you each and every week by Hook or Crook Sellers. This is their new Field Blend Lodi Reserve available at Costco. And, of course, our new sponsor, Bear Paint. This is the Dynasty. They're located right down the street. Pairs very well with the Dynasty here at Mater Dei.
Yes.
Available at your nearby Home Depot stores. I want to thank the good folks at Bear and our friends over at Hook or Crook. Great product. Also want to thank Kevin Conway, who's just really stepped up through through the logistics of travel and on-the-road meals and additional bus services and things that you need. So there's been a lot of people behind the scenes, but big shout out to KC Kevin Conway.
Well, he's Kevin and Linda are unbelievable. I mean, one phone call, boom, it's done. And obviously, you know, his company is DS Diversified
Services.
They are one of our sponsors, but we'll get our audience more information. But I love the guy.
Yeah.
I love the guy. He's just a high energy guy, and he's very successful. But you can't do it without parents like that. He takes off his business suit, puts on his nap apron, and he'll flip burgers, and he'll buy the burgers too. So God bless. And it's a family of nothing but Monarchs.
Feeding the beast. I love what Eric Johnson's doing on defense with the defensive front and the rotation with Sione Moa and Talialamaka and Uyangalule. I mean, there's different ways to pronounce that name. I've heard it pronounced 3 different ways, but phonetically in your program, it's Lule, and I've heard DJ pronounce Uyangale and then Uyangalele. So I'm going to go with the phonetic pronunciation in your media guide. But those 3 guys are doing an outstanding job getting pressure on the quarterback, and that quarterback at Liberty was special. Taylor Kelly and I were watching him warm up, and we were looking at each other going, my God.
Yeah, he had a whip.
6'3", 215 pounds, ripped. That ball was coming out in the pregame. I mean, he was throwing frozen ropes, deep outs at, on a line at 35 yards. I was like, whoa. And they went right down, their first series. And
exactly.
I was like, all right, we got a game here.
The other thing about that kid is we hit him hard. I mean, we were but he kept getting up. And
they always say a best pass defense is a pass rush.
Oh, big time.
And you guys brought the heat.
And we're bringing fresh bodies in. And that's a first in all of my years. Well, I played guys both ways back in the 90s, but we struggle when we go ones to ones. I've told you that before, just because of them. They are big men. They're cat quick, but they're all different styles. Like Cajo, Tuliamaka. Okay, we got to get him to play lower. Get bigger, and he wants to play like a 5'9" guy. Okay, no, play like your 6'5", 350 guy. There's nothing wrong with just get him out of the way. But and then Jacob Kangaika, man. I mean, I'll tell you what, he's just tough. Got great hands, great technique. Then you start to bring in younger kids. RJ, never pronounce that last name. But you know, so they're coming in at 6'5", 350, 6'3", 290. You know, another 310 guy, but they can all run. And I told you at the conclusion in our last podcast that wait to see these guys, because they're all back.
Yeah.
And you see that team speed, and they're the guys that hit the switch. They're not a friendly bunch on game night.
No, they're not. And then if they happen to get to the second level, they got Mr. Leviticus Sua there waiting to greet them with a little hello, how you doing?
Well, and Malaki has just
Teo.
He's you know, we heard all about him, but now he comes up and I'll tell you what, man, he's starting to play, and we knew he could deliver a blow, but now he's reading, now he's understanding when to shoot it and when to get over the top, and it's experience, and I'm really pleased with him. You know, I still find myself fascinated at looking at David Bailey.
Oh my God, he's like, you know, I was thinking, like, what would be a nickname? Or like Border Patrol, because he just protects the perimeter and the border. Nobody gets by him. That swim move he did 2 weeks ago, I about jumped at him off the press box. I mean, that was so athletic. Hopefully that ends up on your year-end highlight reel, because that was amazing.
No, it's and they're going to be fun to watch. And I knew early in the season we would depend on them a lot as we brought the young quarterback along. I tell them, you got to carry us. You know, and I told them before the Duncanville game, and I told them before the Liberty game. You know, that was the number one key to victory, was our defense just shutting it down so we could come along. And I know we're scoring a lot of points. But nobody can cover CJ.
No.
Okay.
Unstoppable.
And the other kids are making.
I like Ashtiani, the guy
Cassius. That was a big catch in
He's
Liberty.
Quick and
the
nifty.
Quiet assassin. And I'm telling you, when it's Cooper Barcade, he can take the top off it. Now, we missed him on 2 deep throws down in Duncanville. You know, all of a sudden we're going to be in here somewhere in mid-October, and we're going to be going, where'd he come from? Well, sooner or later, the good teams that were going to come down the road, they're going to find a way to somewhat neutralize CJ. I'm not, you know, they're going to double him. Now it's Coop's show. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, what a specimen. I mean, talk about, you know, the benefit of your weightlifting program. That's Exhibit A right there for a skilled player. I mean, he's special. Let's talk just real briefly as we get ready for your home opener at the Santa Ana Bowl. You know, logistically, what sort of protocols? How do people? Can you go to the game and buy a ticket, or do you have to buy online, or what's the program?
Probably the easiest thing to do is go to moderndayfootball.net, okay, and that'll direct you to, I'm going to draw a blank on what service we use for the tickets, that you buy them online. GoFan or whatever.
That's available. You can buy a ticket online.
Season tickets have already gone out.
Do you get scanned when you get in, or do you have to print something out? Or
you know what, Kevin? I've never been to the gate at the start of the game.
We'll figure that out. But the good news is you can buy your tickets here at school, and you can buy them walking up to the ticket booth at the Santa Ana Bowl.
So don't miss it.
No
miss
restrictions.
I want that place packed it's kind of like a homecoming game.
Well, congratulations on
you.
a 2-0 start. I know it's been a little hectic. You're doing a great job. God bless you and the program, and continued success and health to the young men that put it out there on Friday nights.
That's all we care about is their health. They take care of the rest. But rock and roll, baby. It's on.
All right. For the coach, Bruce Rollinson, I'm Kevin Turner. Until next time, we'll see you right back here on the Coach's Corner.